Whew, yeah, they had to hear from the wind real quick, man, from the spirit. So when we look at the, oh, that's why it's doing it like that. The little walk. I was trying to go through this shit real quick. So Negro, when you look at the term Negro, as you see me talk about before, when we look at nature, and the Nedger, and the darkness, and the essence of the source of darkness, right? It's important. I mean, if some haven't really studied, you know what I'm saying, science, and you understand the essence of darkness, the darkness moving faster than light or what have you. So when we look at this term Negro and the Nedger and the Netter and the writings of the gods and the writings of the gods and the languages, and trying to figure out how ancients would decipher ancient findings, petroglyphs, and different things. For some reason, they always use this Hebrew language. So these things, when we look at anthropologists and trying to find historical relevance and things that are found buried under soils, under ancient civilizations, ancient ruins, the Hebrew language has been essential in its pictorial form. Essentially, you know what I'm saying, when we look at the Medu Neter, the writing of the gods, the writing of nature, the essence, the signs of heaven, which form these formulas of light that gave us calendars and many other forms of writing, sounds, music, harmonics, a way to praise the Most High in season and due season in certain times, to follow certain processions and follow certain funerary processions. A lot of these things came from the heavens, came from observance of the heavens that formed culture worldwide, universal. All these cultures universally have one thing in common: the sun and the path and the progression of the sun setting the order and align with darkness. So when we look at the Nedger and the Negrito, the Negro, and the Hebrew, and this term Christian and being Christian, Nedger, and circling, right? Chronology, chronos, the crown. So a lot of these things were essential. Even when you look at the addendums, right? The triple crown, white crowns, and a lot of the ancient cultures that first formed from observing from the heavens, their civilizations, their ordinances, and their different things that were designated by the signs of heaven, right? The Hebrew language, for some reason, especially in this pictorial, the Washawan Kadans, these sounds have some type of connection. You know, I mean, I understand it, but it's still fascinating when we really look at how powerful sound is, and the ability that we have to speak. You know what I'm saying, and to speak truth and speak life into people, and to change people's circumstances, you know what I'm saying, from the smoke and mirrors of what we see today. So when we look at Christian and we look at the term Negro, to be black, NGR, the Netter, the Netters, the unseen ones, right? The unseen, the dark ones, the ones that predated the forming of the sun and the forming of the universe, these different things. So when you understand darkness and the immeasurableness of the beginnings of what is called darkness, right? And the beginning state of the universe, the expanse of darkness, it cannot be measured. So what is measurable is light. And the sun, as we understand now, the spring has come. And how we know the spring has come is because the time of when the sun rises now is earlier. So what that gives us the indication, those that dwell in the northern portion above the equator, the great circle, that the sun is now along this coordinate. So this is how these things and these signs and these different things are all connected, right, with everything, all right? So when we look at the Hebrews and the terminology, if you check these things out in Hebrew, Ibri, when we look at the Iberian Peninsula, A lot of the regions of North Africa, I know sometimes you hear something called Moorish Hebrews, right? When we look at this thing called people that call themselves Moorish Hebrews, um, we have to look at the beginnings of mooring, more, ma'or, light, right? Mother's light, ma, mother, or light, mother's light. The extraction from the waters, celestial waters, all these different things, constellations and zodiacs. I'm not going to go into to that, but just understand when we look at the Hebrews and the crossings and the knowledge of the sciences, the knowledge of the heavens was essential to these Hebrews in order for them to do what their function is and what they're called, right? So when we look at Psalms 83, and it talks about all these nations against the hidden ones, right, to keep the name of Israel no longer in remembrance, and all these different things, um, the curses, kumbaya, come by here. Now, a lot of people don't probably never even paid attention to understanding that these sounds that we say even in this English alphabet still have a correlation or connection to the essence of the original sounds, which some would say is a Hebrew language or ABaR language, which is coming from the heavens. First and foremost, the designation, the designs of the heavens, the formation of light, the observance is how we're able to communicate universally. So this is how certain characters now have changed their connotational meaning because of the associations of different cultures down the lines of time. Different cultures have began to associate. So if you understand connotation versus denotation, and how connotation is somewhat based upon vernacular, based upon the common essence of the association of a term, not necessarily what it actually means, but just the common association of that term. So when we look at Hebrews and the crossings and Israelites, Israelites, that's two separate things. A lot of times people don't understand that. The Hebrews come prior to Israelites, meaning that there's Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And from Shem's line is where the term ABaR, Hebrew, ABri, comes from. And so in the different scriptures in Jeremiah, it talks about how we would lose our culture, lose our heritage, and lose all these different things, right? And so today, a lot of times we see these modern Jews and assume these are God's chosen people, right? And we have to understand that by the religions, Christianity and the Christian black codes and the labeling of Africans, black, Negro, Afro people as being seeds of Ham is what allowed for what we know as this particular Americanized Jim Crow type of slavery, right? Where that has been able to through the religions, through the Christianity, has been able to accept the dehumanizing of dark-skinned people throughout the whole world by saying that they are from Noah's son Ham that uncovered the nakedness of his father. So it's by that significance of Ham and the Hamitic, and what sometimes some people say is Africans, but even in Bible dictionaries, it mentions that these Hamitic people that sometimes always tries to be placed upon dark-skinned people are not the Negroes specifically. And, this is, if you ever listen to camps, this is one of the most important things that they talk about in distinguishing the difference between African people and indigenous people or Aboriginal people here in America. So like you'll see posts, people say African Americans ain't African, right? A lot of things we have to understand. Going back to the original divisions of the kingdoms, the separations of the two lands, the separation of the kingdoms, the wearing of the crowns, different crowns, Israel and Judah being two separate things, but forming in unity, right? All these different things, right, have an importance. But scientifically, we can see that these people that consider themselves to be Jews today are come from a Japhetic line of people called Ashkenazis, right? And even, presidents have even brought this to the attention. What I'm saying, R.I.P. to the man. But what I'm saying, check these things out. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going through this real quick. Yeah, I posted a lot of this stuff on my page, but just check some of these things out. Check some of these scriptures out. You know what I'm saying? And really share this information. You know what I'm saying, with your family. You know what I'm saying, like, especially those that have Christian family members or people that are in the church, right? It's the dogma in the church and the teachings of the church that we come from the Hamitic line of people is the reasoning that religions and servitude and slavery and dehumanizing is allowed to be placed upon us as dark-skinned people. You know what I'm saying? So that's it says Negro is the Caucasian from my understanding. Well, there's a troglodyte Niger Negro, but this term Negro, when it's talking about the Niger, it's referring to darkness. It's referring to the unseen. It's actually referring to the hidden. So a lot of these things in language, right, are assumed to be dark, black, because hidden, unseen, it's covered, you can't see it. So all of these things throughout language mean the same thing, right? So, you know what I'm saying? So it's language, man. Is so it's like you said, it's spells, different ways that things are hidden, different folds to the information. So on one fold, if you're reading it just on that level of reading it, that's all you're gonna get from it. But you know what I'm saying? If you understand on the different folds, you can get so much out of these different things. So sometimes this is why some of this shit is foundational, but you see people constantly speaking about the same things, is because there's so many folds to the basics. There's so many mysteries to the basic information. So, you know what I'm saying, when you look at Negro land and this region of the Congo, two-sided, you know what I'm saying, meanings to a lot of different things. So, even with the term Christian, is somehow synonymous or connected with this term Niger or Negro. You know what I'm saying? And that goes back to the functionings of language, is the fact that we don't deal with concrete understanding of words, and we allow for this Greco-Roman understanding of, which is more abstract, right? And it's through the abstract of words that we learn the ability to read, never really truly grasping the concrete of language, because most of us only speak one language, which is usually English, and that's why that's a big thing. It's like language, especially the Hebrew language. It's essential because we're talking about defining things in its essence and its sound before it's corrupted to take on meanings associated by different not vernaculars, but different regions of people who associate meanings to certain things, right? So, but like you mentioned, with the troglodyte Nigers, and these cave dwelling people who are also looked at as Negroes and Nigers, is also because they dwelt in these dark cavities in these caves as well. So, that's another, you know what I'm saying, understanding too about, we understand the term who is black, who is Negro. It's interesting how these things can be flipped, like kind of like trading places. If you ever watched that movie with Eddie Murphy, but this is why even in the Philippines we find in the Negrito people, the short stature, the small stature people, pygmies, Twa, and other new people. Sometimes they also get categorized as being one and the same, but yeah, I just wanted to share this information real quick, and I'll probably touch more on this later. But I just wanted to drop that, share that. Peace be with y'all, man, and understand how important it is to go into the essence of language and study the essence of language, so that we can pick apart these things and share these things, because how your perspective may help me in what I'm saying, something and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. Peace be with y'all, man, and hit me up, man. Hit me up, you know what I'm saying? And, you know what I'm saying, I got to go right now, but hit me up, and, you know what I'm saying, and I'll try to, you know what I'm saying, sharpen me, give me some game, give me some shit on something that I can, where you don't understand, maybe some things that don't make sense, you know what I'm saying? I don't be tripping, you feel me? Correction it brings you closer to righteousness. You know what I'm saying? So the more I get corrected, the closer I get to being more righteous. So, you know what I'm saying? I don't fear correction. I don't, you know, I embrace it because that's how you get closer to righteousness, through correction. Peace.